Welcome everyone to Plastic Cards Podcast. My name is Fonzie. I'm joined by an indie dev today out of Russia. We are here with Nikolay. He's worked on rhythm-based games. Nikolay, thanks for being on the show. Want to get into you already told me a little bit earlier, but explaining, a little bit about yourself. You're out of Russia and you're an indie dev. So, how did you get to this point?
How do I get to this point? So I was studying at school and university like many others, and I'm 25 now. And at the age of 22, 3 years ago, I decided to download a game maker. It's an engine like Unity or Unreal Engine, and try to learn something. I didn't have any programming skills before then. I was studying. I'm a builder. In one word, in my university, I was studying this kind of stuff, and once I was thinking about what do I do with my life then after university, and I decided to try get into game dev, and it is okay. Now.
Yeah.
So I did a good job on learning some stuff beside my university, because that was my graduation year, and I must written my qualification work. So those two parallel things were in my life back then. And I and at night I was in university, and at day I was in university, and at night time I was learning game maker. Yeah, so I did not have any people back then who were developers too, so I was alone. That's not that sad story. I didn't just have people to talk with about game dev. I have a lot of friends who play games, but they don't make them.
Gotcha.
So yeah, they play tested my strange prototypes 2 years ago. Yeah, at least I had some people to play them.
Yeah, that's good. You know what? That's a question I have now that I think of. Did you rely on the internet kind of building the tools for learning Game Maker and that kind of thing?
Yeah, of course, because I can't imagine how people were learning stuff before internet, because I don't know what do I do without it. It is all documentation, all tutorials are in there, and I was learning quite fast because of the community, because of the big amount of YouTube tutorials. So those were tools. First of all, it is YouTube and some text articles.
Gotcha. Now I want to go back. I have my little list of questions here for you. What were some of your favorite video games growing up?
First of all, I was playing since I think maybe 5 years old with my cousin. We were playing a lot of NES. It is a clone of NES called Dandy, Famicom clone. Yeah, we were playing Mario, Tetris, and all games that we had. My favorite one was Pizza Cats, Pizza Cats. It's a American version of Japanese Kyoto Ninja TND, something like that, where you play cats that were ninjas, basically. So it was my favorite game, back then.
It sounds really cool.
Yeah, it is a very cool game. So after that, I was playing a lot on PlayStation 2. I skipped PlayStation 1 for some reason, and my parents bought me PlayStation 2. I was playing all games that I had at my local store. I just buying games and walking them through, from cute anime JRPGs to gore and violent God of War, everything, sports games and something like that. And I did not play a single Rythm game back then. I didn't know that these games exist. Yeah, only at the age of maybe 14, when my parents bought me a PC, I maybe not 14, maybe 16, I learned about a game called Osu. It's a rhythm game with circles, a very popular free to play game, and I still
Mm.
play it sometimes. Yeah, I knew that I I discovered a new genre called rhythm games, and I loved it. But I when I started, and I was playing a lot of. Unfortunately, I was playing a lot of MOBAs,
Hmm.
especially League of Legends, and it was a quite dark moment of my life. I didn't play any single player games. I was just playing MOBA with my friends,
Hmm.
and it was a cool period because we chatted a lot, so something like that. But I didn't play normal games.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and then I played my final big game after League of Legends. So I stopped playing it at the age of 17 when I discovered Hotline Miami. I
Oh,
played it so many times, I don't know, and it cured me my. Uh,
your addiction.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I stopped playing League of Legends and I back to a single player games, which I love a lot.
You know, to speak of legal or Hotline Miami, there's a game that just came out that's a lot like that I'm playing. It's called Blood Roots. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, I didn't hear about it.
Check it out because it's a lot like Hotline Miami, but it's newer. It's on Nintendo Switch, and I think it's on PS4 and that kind of stuff too. But it's if you liked Hotline Miami, I think you'll like this new game that came out too.
Yeah, it's my top one
Yeah.
game of all time. I love that game so much.
Oh yeah, people love that game, and I've never sat down and play it. I need to. It's on my list of stuff to play, but it's a big list now.
I recommend you. A very good game. Yeah.
Nice. I'll check it out. You mentioned so you didn't have you weren't kind of like looking for rhythm games when you were growing up playing them. You just kind of it wasn't in your mind. But were you always kind of drawn to the music in games, or was that something that happened later on where you were passionate about mixing those two, or paying attention to the music in games?
I think it happened a little bit later. I did and do love music and games. I mean, I was listening to game music. I just downloaded to my music player and I listened to it a lot. But I did not think about it like, oh yeah, I want to make music game or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to make one. I think in 2000. After a half year of I downloaded Game Make, and after 6 months, I was like, "Hey, there is no rhythm games on this engine." I was thinking about which game should I focus on, and I knew that there are too many platformers, there are too many. I can't say there are too many point and clicks game, but they are not very popular. So and you can't make a proper 3D game on GameMaker, or at least it's very hard. So I
Mm.
got not very short list of game that I can make, but it is not was big variety. So I was like, hey, there are no music rhythm based games, and I decided to make one. I can't say that I'm a great rhythm game player or I'm addicted to them. I just love what, the game. Also, Crypto Necro Dance.
Mm.
I will talk maybe a little bit later rhythm games that I like,
Mm-hmm.
but mm, um, I just thought about it is better to be. I don't know. There is a phrase to be a little duck in the little pond, not the little duck in the big pond of
Oh
platformers or
yes, yes, yeah, like a big fish in a little pond kind of thing. You
yeah,
said,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think there are no. I did know some rhythm games on GameMaker, but they weren't so popular or something like that. And I was thinking about it will be a challenge for me because I was learning on YouTube tutorials, like I said, and I was not producing something myself. I mean, there are I was wanted to challenge myself to do something by myself. So there are no tutorials on rhythm games on GameMaker, so I wanted to make my own by myself. Yeah, so that's the main, I think, reason why I started rhythm games.
Gotcha. I'm curious too, kind of behind the scenes. what put you on that path, as far as like people around you? Were there any influential people in your life that either kind of suggested, hey, you should start making games, or that were doing it and you saw them and kind of like followed them? Was there people in your life that were influential with your the game development?
I can't say that there is yeah, a particular person that was inspiring me or something like that. This thought about making games was growing in me for I think for
Gotcha.
years, 1, 2, 3 years. I don't know from them. From sorry, that's Russian.
Oh, you're fine.
Parasite word.
Mm,
From the age of 18 or 19 through 2 or 3 years, I was thinking, yeah, it will be cool to make games, but I had too many excuses, like don't have time and so
yeah.
on. And once I was sitting in my kitchen with my close friend, and we were chatting about this, about our future, so on. And I said that I have a dream to make games, but it's so hard, so on. And he said,
Hmm.
"You just sit and make it, because I'm person who can sit a long time to and make something monotone. So I mean, I'm a good student, so
Hmm.
I knew that I could make it, but I had many excuses. And this guy, my friend, just told me, just do it. And so he was very pushing me to this, because he saw that it was my dream at that time already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Gotcha. Now, another question for you. So, about the indie game scene over in your part of Russia. I know in the States here, it depends on where you are in the country for sure, but there's a lot of these little pockets of people that meet up and will make games together and talk about games. In Russia, and you're part of that in Russia, is there that same kind of environment? Is there spots where you can go and meet up with people and kind of talk about making games, work on games together, or is everyone really spread out? What's the scene there?
yeah, there are many meetups every week, every month, every 2 weeks, especially in the big cities like Moscow or St. Petersburg. And we have a lot of big cities with 5 million people living in it, or 10 million. So there
Gotcha.
are a lot of game developers there. I can't say this about my city, Penza, because, as like I said, there are not many people that making games. I do know some people now after 3 years, and we can meet up too, but it is quite rare, just because um, not so many things happen, so we can meet up every month, for example. So we
Yeah.
chat in like in 3 months or a half a year maybe. The good thing about my city is that one of the oh, my screen, wait please. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So my the good thing about my city is that one of the companies that is making mobile games is very um, they are doing their meetups. So they are
Gotcha.
mm, they call everyone who want to make games, who are making games, and everyone can go and chat with others. And I love them, that company, for this,
Hmm.
uh, because they are trying to mm, no, to rise. I don't know how to say
Oh,
that.
I like to bring up the other, like the people, the talent. They're trying to like help them
Yeah, yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. Because it is very. I don't know. I can't say about other countries, but here it is very strange for maybe strange for parents, because like games, what is that? Go
Hmm. Yep.
find a real job and something like that.
Right.
I am very lucky, because my parents are not like that. They said, okay, you can, you have brain, so you know what you're doing, something like that.
Hmm.
But it could be different, hard for other people. So that company is like saying, hey, we're having jobs, we have salaries, so, and we're doing meetups, so other people, they so they won't be scared, I think,
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, so some meetups, we got some meetups, and that company is doing mm, some 1 second.
Hmm.
um, some learning projects. They
Okay.
calling people to meet up and making some games together. A month ago, they started a project that involved four teams with six people, like programmers, artists, and so on. And I decided to participate too, and we're making some hyper casual games in 2 months just for fun. Maybe some people after that will go work on that company. So I like them because of my city will be not the center not the center of game dev,
Yeah.
but something is happening here, and I love it.
That's good. Yeah, it seems like it's growing there. I really like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, are there schools there that focus on game development, or is it really just on you guys to individually, look into the tools and figure out the tools? Or I guess you mentioned that company. There's that company reaching out, helping people too. But are there any schools there, or that offer like a program, like a school program like that?
Yeah, we got some schools. They are not something like
Mm-hmm.
universities. They are smaller, but there are some that are quite big right now. They are maybe 5 years old already. I heard about several. I didn't quite mm, was interested in that, so I can't say that there are a lot of little, but I know
Yeah,
that there are plenty of them in Russia, and you can go and learn it
gotcha.
in maybe half year, for example, game design, 3D, and whatever you want.
I notice, and I think you're proof of this too, where we're learning now that with the internet, I mean, you can do it all for free. All the tools are there. There's YouTube tutorials where the idea of going to an actual school and paying the tuition and all that, it seems like it's really it's not necessary anymore because all the tools are out there and you don't really necessarily have to go to a school. Like you can just start it on your own.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, awesome. So, yeah, so that's great, Nikolay. So we're speeding through these questions here. So, yeah, I wanted to start talking about some of your projects. So, especially the lo-fi ping pong. That's how we first kind of found you online, was through that project, and it looks really cool, sounds really cool. There's something about it that just drew us in right away. I want to kind of hear just behind the scenes. Where did that idea come from, and how did it go starting that whole project out?
Mhm. So after developing making Triskenta, that was like a test project, so I can see can I make rhythm games on GameMaker. I
Hmm.
did one, and after that I was thinking about making a rhythm game for Steam. I was thinking about some not big project but serious one that
Mm-hmm.
I will love with my heart and so on, and I can show people, and I won't be embarrassed. The initial idea, um, there is this game is based on one video where some Chinese Olympics happened. Not Chinese, but Olympics happened where two Asian girls, as I recall it correctly, women are playing ping pong, and
Well,
you
someone
should
had,
just
yeah, they put the music over them playing the ping
yeah.
pong. Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
and it was just so meditative. So they like tick, tick, tick. They were playing,
Hmm.
playing, playing, and it was like chill music
Yeah.
on the background. And I was searching for that track for months, and no one knew what that track was. That video wasn't on YouTube. It was on our social network, Russian,
Mm.
and I can't find. That track, and eventually I found it. It was Russian beatmakers. So And after that video, I was like, wow, that's a cool idea. I think I can make that game because it will be quite easy to make one. I mean, for big rhythm games, you should make a whole maps where you put beats by your hands. Where should something happen?
Mm.
Uh, do I explain it
Well,
clearly?
oh yeah, yeah, I heard what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you started off, you found that song, and then you had that idea to now I want to kind of make this like as gameplay. You want to actually kind of create what you were seeing there. So then, what is the where does that start? Where does that begin? Like the as far as like the art style too. Like how did you kind of gravitate towards that art style?
Um,
Cause
honestly, yeah, yeah.
Oh, because it's like this I'm just kind of describing. It's like this pixelated, top down art style. The art is really really good. But just as an example, you had to choose that. You had to then you had to go and find the music. So what was that? What was that journey like?
Um, First of all, I was making prototype of this game. I made a prototype in like 2 hours. I don't know, and I started to, and it was like cubes and so on. And I was thinking about the perspective and art and so on. And in maybe 1 week, I no, not 1 week, 2 days, I
Hmm.
made that prototype a little bit bigger so I can fast download other songs. You just plug in song, put the BPM in there, and it plays
Gotcha.
right off. Yeah, and I was thinking about perspective, and back then it was 2018. I started game making in March, 3 years in this month, to 2017.
Mm,
In 2018 in the summer, so after 15 months sitting on game make and learning, I made that prototype, and
wow.
I was playing a lot Hyperlife Drift game, one of my favorite games too. It is made on game maker too. Why I started game maker, why not Unity and Unreal? Because Hotline Miami, Hyperlife Drift, that games were made on game maker, and I
I didn't
decided
realize
to.
that. Wow. And those are big,
Yeah,
like release indie games
yeah,
that are
yeah, yeah.
everywhere.
They're huge. So, and I just love that perspective in Hyperlight Drift, and basically I just copied it. So, I mean, camera position, something like that.
Yeah.
And even when I was making prototype, I just ripped off assets from Hyperlight Drift, and my first prototype was on that dude, the main character, was
Oh,
playing ping
gotcha.
pong. Yeah, he was hitting his sword like he was hitting
Yeah.
it with racket. Yeah,
No,
and
that's
I
great.
got that video on YouTube too. It is closed, of course. I was showing it to artists so they can understand what do I want from them.
Gotcha.
And so I was thinking about pixel art just because it was easier, honestly, because it is easier to make pixel art games in game maker. I can't I hope people won't understand will understand me correctly. It is a great game engine. I think I will wait a little bit.
Hmm.
I still oh my god, about um I'm on Unity now, for one word, since April
Oh,
2000.
you're using Unity as well?
um, I I started Unity when I released Lo-Fi Ping Pong. I
Oh,
started
gotcha.
learning it immediately because Unity have much more audio tools. I
Mm.
wanted to make bigger rhythm games, and I knew that GameMaker can't provide me those tools, but it is a very super duper cool engine. I love
Hmm.
it a lot, but still, it has some mm,
Yeah, like limitations or
yeah,
yeah.
limitations,
Hmm.
and it is much easier to work with pixel art. So I decided to find some pixel artists, and moreover, it is very popular in not in Russian community, I think worldwide. It is very popular art right now. Maybe some people can say that every second game is pixel art, and I can understand them, but I loved it. So I was like always browsing subreddits,
Yeah.
pixel art, something like that. Yeah,
I
and yeah.
I agree that with pixel art, um, it doesn't. I think it ages well, where you can still pick up a game that's pixel art later on, and it looks really good. But also, it's popular for a reason. People love it, you know. So I mean, that's why there's so many pixel art games because it looks cool, and people always keep loving it. You know, I mean, for the end of time, there's something about it that always looks really cool.
Yeah, I agree. Basically, I think most of the 2D art is ageless,
Mm-hmm.
if I can say that, and pixel art too. So I started searching for some pixel artists. I was searching only from people from Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, no, our neighbors, just because
Yeah.
it will be easier for me. I wanted to work with some people from other countries just because for experience.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to make it harder because it is much easier to work with people from your country because of many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So there are very so many people right now are making pixel art, so it wasn't that hard to find an artist that I wanted.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I found a guy who have drawn has drawn most of the game, but um, on that game on Lo-Fi Ping Pong was working I think four pixel artists in parallel. So one guy
Oh
made
wow.
animations, other made backgrounds, other girl made promo art. It was my first experience in giving people jobs and something like that, and I decided it will be, I think, easier to give to break it into pieces and give it
Mm-hmm.
to different people, so it will be faster.
So you were
But
directing
yeah,
the
yeah,
whole process too. Then that's what a
yeah,
game
yeah.
director's doing. That's what a producer's doing. Is they're sending those chunks to everyone and then compiling it and making it work.
Yeah, so I was learning that process too. I was reading some articles, not books, but some short articles about how to manage things because I was interested in it and I had to do this.
Hmm.
All of the design, music, art design, game design was done by me, and I can't say that I wanted to make that because I knew that some of that sucked in the beginning, and some artists helped me to not redo but rethink some things.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So the
Uh,
music was done by you.
no, no, no.
Oh,
Uh,
gotcha.
um, Art and music was done by other people,
I see.
and localization was done by my friend's friends. My
Gotcha.
friend is living in Germany, my schoolmate, uh, and she has a lot of friends from Asia, Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and many countries, so they helped me localize the game. And four artists had drawn all the art, and two musicians made music. The first one is Mev, Russian guy from Moscow,
Yeah.
one of the main, I think, lo-fi hip hop artists right now. He's quite popular. He has a lot of releases with foreign for me foreign artists. He is working with some publishers and so on. And the second guy, and the Zmeyev is about 25 years old, just like
Mm-hmm.
me, I think.
Oh,
And
nice.
the other guy, yeah, and the other guy is from Russia too, from city called Omsk, from Siberia. He is I think 18 years old or something like that. And
Yeah.
he's very talented guy. He's making a lot of different music, not just lo-fi hip hop beats. He's making, I don't know, you can't choose one genre. I think even 10 genres that he's working on. And I think it is, he is a great guy.
Wow.
Talking about music, yeah, and he is making music for my second game right now. Um,
Yeah, I want to get into
s-
that too. It's so and help me pronounce it too. Is it Kovacs pitch?
yes, something like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
The thing is that I wanted to make a game. I wanted to call this game Full Swing because it is a German, not a German, but the words that are frequently used in baseball, something
Mm.
like that. And it is, I think I will talk about it later when we are talking about Kovac speech now.
Well,
How
we
do
could
we?
we could shift into it a little bit. I did have one last thing about lo-fi ping pong,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
really it also relates to Kovac's pitch as well. But uh, that just the chill hip hop genre, I feel like that's kind of blown up. Like I've been a fan of it. I didn't realize it was a thing until on YouTube. I actually found this. There's this radio channel. I think it's called Chilled Cow, and they're
Yeah,
just always streaming these songs. They're like, oh, these sound awesome. And I didn't
yeah,
realize there's
yeah.
this whole community making, and they'll take like video game soundtracks and redo them into this like chilled hip hop style. No, I love it, and I think it works really well with those games. What is that? And you mentioned there's some Russian artists that's their big thing. So that's taken over Russia as well. Like that's a huge genre there.
Yeah, I think I can't say that hmm, big things are big things in every country. I think in Europe, America, Russia, it doesn't matter if pixel art is popular in one country, it will be popular in others just because internet.
Yeah.
So there are a big amount of great artists in USA and Europe and in Russia. So yeah, and about um, lo-fi hip hop, it is one of the things that I wanted to implement in the game. First of all, because it is played great, and second of all, because um, it's just a good marketing thing for
Mm-hmm.
me. I think at least I thought that back then, because it is a really popular genre right now, and
Yeah.
back then, in a year ago, it just was blowing up and still
That's good
popular.
to on your side. That's good to be conscious of what is popular. What can I jump on and kind of take advantage of and create something along with that? Because I think a lot of indie devs just need to be aware of or maybe there's a certain gameplay that people are really into and kind of like implementing that. Because although you do want to be creative and artistic, you also want the thing to sell as well as it can. So you kind of I think you have to be just aware of what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. I can't say that it is the main reason because
Right.
why I took those songs. I just love them myself.
Right.
I'm a man too. When I hear something is popular, I am always checking it, and if I love it, I want to work with it
Mm-hmm.
in games.
Yeah. Now, your next game that you're working on, so it's Kovacs Pitch. Let's get into what brought you to that idea. So you're learning from the Lo-Fi Ping Pong. What are you taking from that project and working over into Kovacs Pitch? What have you learned from that old project and are using for this new one?
So first of all, it is y- the we will have that question in the list. I saw that, but I want to say this right now.
Mm-hmm.
It is make tool to so players can play their own games. Customization is one of the things that I wasn't working too much on lo-fi ping pong. Basically, you can make just you can upload your own songs, but after release, after maybe a half year after release, I understood that I should have made some customization tools
Mm.
for graphics. So you may alter a girl's shirt's color, maybe background,
Oh,
something
gotcha.
like that,
Yeah.
because so many players not of not only from my game but from other games, rhythm games are crazy about customizations.
Mm.
Um, I can't say that on other games, but look at Skyrim or something like that. Modders are
Yeah.
crazy people. They are making another game from the base one, and the one of my main goals for this game, not just make it fun, interesting, and so on, but to make a lot of customization stuff because people love it, and I love it as player too. Uh, this
Right.
will this will need some time because Unity is a new engine for me. I'm working on it less than a year. In April will be a year, and I'm still learning while I'm doing this project. But I'm sure that I will spend as much time as it needed to make those tools. Yeah, that's the first thing that I learned from lo-fi ping pong. The
Hmm.
second of all, um, it is a very um, 1 second
Yeah.
word. Um, I even forgot it in Russian. Oh my, uh, it is very.
You're fine.
Uh,
Take your
one, s-
time.
yeah, 1 second.
Hmm.
I have opened Google Translate for that.
Mm.
So I want to say word. Oh man. Oh man. Uh, let's say the thing I want to say about
Hmm.
is aimed only on rhythm games and is about timings. Some
Okay.
devices all devices have latency, yeah, and for rhythm game it
Oh,
is
gotcha.
very important to have that calibration thing,
Hmm.
yeah. Because some people were playing lo-fi ping pong on their TVs that were connected through some not HDMI cables but some Steam links maybe, and they're playing with controllers that are Bluetooth tools and
Right.
they have latency like 150 milliseconds. I don't know, and it is unreal to play all games for me like that, and rhythm games just
You can't. Yeah, it's got to be like right, exact when
yeah,
you're doing
yeah.
that. So then you have to
So
plan
yeah.
for the user maybe using a controller or using a mouse, using the keyboard, using Bluetooth, using different kind of connections. So you have to plan for all these different possibilities.
Yeah, and
Wow.
there are quite simple tools for collaboration. You
Okay.
just in most read games have that tool.
That's
You
true.
just
Yeah.
yeah, you just tick 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 tick, and it is, oh, your offset is something like that, and it um, um, knows it and uses it in game. And I didn't have that tool in lo-fi ping pong. Some people asked me to do it, but I first of all didn't know how to make one. I
Yeah.
knew how to make it in Unity already because there is a not tutorial, but I asked one guy that is making rhythm games right now uh, on Unity. He
Hmm.
gave me for free his tool, but I can't import it in Game Maker. So I just like, yeah, maybe one day, and I didn't make it till now. And I think I will make one because people. Mm, they don't ask for it that frequently. I know that
Mm.
it is not a good position, but it will be quite time consuming for uh, this big work for so m- little amount of people. Maybe five
I
people
see.
in that year one asked me for that, so
Right.
it
Yeah, no,
is.
that's a hard decision, but you have to make that as a dev where because you only have so much time, you have to other things you have to work on. So what do I need to work on first that has the biggest demand? What needs to be adjusted versus the smaller things that maybe can be either not worked on or put to the very end? Like yeah, you have to make that decision.
Yeah. Talking about what I learned from ping pong 2, it is do simpler UI because
Mm,
in ping pong it is quite. I can't say it is very complex or something like that, but that idea with the phone came up. I don't know how it came up to me. But some people had troubles with it, and I decided to make a standard menu in the Kovac speech.
okay, gotcha.
So I learned that if you want to make something cool in UI, you should learn it. I just made it. I opened Photoshop. I drew some phone. I basically took a background that was drawn by one of the artists, leaves, green leaves. I took some maybe iPhone photo from the internet. I pixel arted it,
Hmm.
drew myself, and yeah, that's great menu. And it was, I can't say that was horrible idea, but I did not think about it too much. I just did it, and Yeah,
Yeah.
straight to the game. That is a bad idea. You should at least not learn by yourself, but ask some guy or girl, man, for one word, that
Oh yeah.
that can do good UI. If
Right.
I'm forgetting words. Yeah, so simpler menu. And those are three things that I'm constantly thinking about when I'm developing this game. What I was learning also, I can't say that I took something in gameplay from that game previous, because Kovac Speech has a more complex system, because it not like a metronome, a lo-fi program, tick tick tick. In
I
Kovac
see.
Speech, it is very not very, but it is I mean, different rhythm,
Different
different.
rhythm. And you mentioned that Unity gives you more audio tools. So do you have behind the scenes? There's a lot more going on than in lo-fi ping pong.
Much more, yeah, much more. Basically, when I started Kovac Speech, it is I think August of last year. So I released Lo-Fi Ping Pong in March last year, and I was updating it in, I think, 3 weeks. I'm patching it, something, and so on. And I was like, "Ugh," I was tired from this game. I wanted to make I wanted to learn something new, because in the end of the process with ping pong, I wasn't learning a thing in maybe 3 months, and I was just working on it. And my brain always wanted to know something new, and I was like, I want something new, and I
Yep.
downloaded Unity, started learning in April 2019, and in August, so it's like 4 months, I think. I started Kovac Speech not from the prototype. I started it from tools. So I didn't know what will I do with it. I just wanted to make a tool that will let you make a rhythm game. It just a tool that lets you upload your song. It draws as a audio wave, like in music players you see that um, a visual representation of a song.
Yeah.
If you can't understand me. Yeah, so
Mhm.
Unity
The sound
lets you
wave
do.
kind of moving around.
Yeah, so Unity lets you do that, and I was basically making my own audio engine in there, where you can place beats by not graph, grid. Yeah, that word, grid. I
Oh,
made
okay.
a grid system where you can place beats, so, and then they are saved in text file, and then um, um, they will have some representation in the real game. So I was putting some bits in the editor, they were saving in the file, and then they become the baseball balls,
Gotcha.
basically, that flying in right time. Yeah, and I spent a lot time making that tool. I don't made it to till the end. I mean, it's not ready yet.
So
It's
does
it's very ugly. I mean, and but it's working. And after a month, I think, of making this tool, I decided to make a baseball rhythm game.
yeah.
I was joking with my friends. My friend told me a joke that, yeah, you made a rhythm ping pong, maybe you will make some rhythm rugby or rhythm darts, something like
Yeah.
that. And I was like, yeah, I will make rhythm baseball. And I saw a GIF on the Reddit, in the pixel art subreddit, where some guy has drawn a pixel baseball, cute baseball player that was hitting some balls, and I was like, yeah, it's a sign from above that I should make a rhythm baseball game.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was my idea. No marketing. I mean, no thinking about that. Oh, people
Right.
will love it, because I just wanted to make one. I was like, yeah, I will do.
Yeah, I think this one already stands out from the last game from Lo-Fi with Kovacs, because you have this like different art style. It's a different perspective too. It's still using the rhythm, but like you can tell it's if I'm looking at it on paper, like I can see the evolution of you creating games. It's like, oh yeah, this is the next step. But it's kind of you're changing stuff up, but you're still learning and using that rhythm based stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Now you described that. It seems like in your engine now, could you drag a song in there and the game itself will kind of like figure out where the ball needs to be, or is it you still have to like manually adjust everything?
Right now, you have to do it manually, but I'm planning to implement that feature like an audio surf where
Gotcha.
beats will be placed automatically. I don't think that it will be that good because honestly, when I was playing audio surf first and second part, I was not pleased with how their engine was placing their beats, and I
Uh,
know that that game was made by smart people, much smarter than me. They have much more experience, and I know that I don't know, but I think that I can't make even like them. I think I will do worse. So I'm planning to do that, but I'm not quite sure
gotcha.
because most rhythm games have a manual system,
Yeah,
which
where
I
you.
played at least.
Yep, that's true. Did you ever? This is not on the thing, but did you ever play the Guitar Hero or like Rock Band games where you have the plastic guitar and you're playing along with the song?
Yeah, I didn't play them too much, but I was playing them maybe 10 times in my life. I played Guitar
Mm.
Hero. Once I played a game where you play not guitar but drums, like Drum Hero. I don't know how it's
Yeah, there
named.
was a Guitar Hero had a drum thing eventually, but I know Rock Band was another one that had a drum where you could actually
Uh,
play it.
I was playing it at not my friend's house, but my friend's house. He had it, and was like, "Oh, that's a great thing." And other people were like dancing, chatting, drinking
Hmm.
stuff, and I was like sitting playing that game. Yeah, so because I love games and people
It's a good
sometimes
party game. Yeah.
yeah, but I was playing it alone because
Well,
people played it for 15 minutes. Like, yeah, that's great game. Let's do something else. And I was like,
yeah.
no, I will play it for another hour,
Leave me
something
alone.
like
I'm just
that.
gonna.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So I was playing that games, and the best rhythm game experience that I have had it's playing Beat Saber in VR.
I
Uh,
haven't played it, but it looks really good, and people keep talking about it.
it's it's an amazing game. I want to buy myself a VR headset. I just like, oh, so much money.
Yeah.
Alex Half-Life Alex was announced, and like, oh my god, I need to buy one
Yep.
to
Yep.
play. And two games so right now, Beat Saber and Half-Life in VR that I want to play so much. And Beat Saber is so awesome game. I played it on the game conference last year where I was showcasing Lo-Fi Ping Pong
Hmm.
in St. Petersburg in Russia.
Was it
And
a Gamescom or what was the name of the event?
it's Game Planet.
Oh, okay.
It's not that quite big. Maybe it is in it a 2 day
Gotcha.
conference. Maybe 15,000 people. Not
That's,
that much comparing to others in Russia. Like we
I
have
see.
a very big, not that like PAX or E3, of course, but quite big for our country. Conferences, and I
Yeah.
was on that on less one showcasing ping pong where I get many I got feedback a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
And I was playing Beat Saber one day. For the first day I was showcasing game, and the second game I was just walking around playing other games because my
Mm.
time ended showcasing my game. And I was like, oh my, there is a VR booth where is a Beat Saber, and there is a crowd for about 15 people that were standing like they want all to play that game.
Yeah.
was waiting for about 40 minutes to play 5 minutes of that game.
Yep.
Yeah, so I played it overall maybe 20 minutes, so I was standing in that crowd for a long time just to play that game. And I know that in my city there is a place, oh, something about something like computer club, something like that,
Hmm.
where is a VR headset you can play Beat Saber. I just can't get there, don't have much time, but
Gotcha.
I hope that in this month I'll go there and play that game. I recommend you a lot, because even if you don't like not like rhythm games, but you didn't play it and wasn't thinking about them too much, but when you play Beat Saber, it's like, wow, you with those awesome sabers
Yeah.
slicing cubes. It's a very great feeling.
That's I
Very
keep
great.
hearing it, and yeah, I need to play it. I just don't have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
way to do it, but at the moment. But do you? So does that light up your brain? Are you thinking when you play that? Are you thinking what you could also do? Like if you had a VR headset, the games you could make. Are you interested in doing a VR kind of rhythm thing?
Yeah, I can't say that I'm interested in doing VR rhythm thing, because I don't know when I will make Kovac speech what should I do next. Will it be another rhythm game or not? But I do want to work and play and work with VR. I don't
Mm,
know it will be a rhythm game or not, but I know that it's quite its progression VR world is quite slow, because 5 years ago people were thinking, wow, VR will blow people's mind, it
yeah.
will grow so fast, but it didn't happen. But still I'm very interested in this market, in this VR stuff, because I think it is future. um,
I agree, and I think it takes. We realized you mentioned 5 years ago, everyone thought, "Whoa, it's going to take off," but the reality is, it takes time. And like, look
yeah,
at Half Life Alex. That's the first big first person shooter that everyone's been waiting for, and it took I don't know 7 years, 5 years by the time like VR started to when we get this killer game. So the whole thing, it's a journey. It takes a lot of time to actually get. Then you got to convince people to buy it, and it's a whole thing. But no, I think it's it's here to stay. Does the idea of developing on VR, do you know how complicated it is? Is that turn you off? Is that scary to you? What do you think?
I didn't quite understand your question. What do you
Oh,
mean?
with developing on VR, like have you looked at the tools and what it will take to learn? Those tools. Is that scary to you? Or are you ready to jump in and learn those new tools?
Honestly, I didn't. I didn't see anything about it, but I heard something. One of the guys that were meet upping
Hmm.
with in my city, he has a team of 9 people. I think they are making VR games, and he was telling us about that. It was very exciting, and I didn't hear from him that it was hard or something like that. The main
Gotcha.
thing is to buy that headset, because sometimes you can buy a cheap one, but it will be very bad. You can't
I see.
develop games on that, because your eyes, your brain will just uh, because
Yeah.
it is
So bad.
not that good like Valve Index, for example.
Right.
So it's just a money consuming thing, and I don't think that it will be very hard. Just it is a new thing, but it will eventually have some tutorials,
Yeah.
documentation, articles, and so on, like other things too.
Well, and that reminds me too. I mean, you mentioned starting with Game Maker. You didn't have any experience before, and you just kind of jumped in and learned everything. I feel like you're a super fast learner. So that I'm sure once you get your hands on VR in a year, you'll have your own prototype or something.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah. Now, on that topic of Kovacs Pitch and really your other games as well. So you're releasing these to Steam. What's your experience been so far, putting the games out and just like learning from, that whole thing of when to put them out and how much to charge? Like, what has been your experience releasing these games?
So when maybe before a month before a release, I was earlier, well, half year before release, I was reading a lot of articles on how to choose a date, choose a
Hmm.
price, something like that. But I did not see good mm, arguments on that. So people were just like, you should just see when big games are releasing, and you just don't release your game there.
Yeah.
I understand that thought, but I was searching myself on that topic, and on Steam Spy, a different site that collect data,
Mm.
and I saw that many indie games that were releasing with games like maybe Witch or something like that, they were doing good. Maybe they will, they could do better, but at least for my opinion, I think what devs wanted mm, to have in auditory, I mean, people, amount of people who wanted to play their games, they received it just because of they were pleased with the amount of money, amount of people who played their games. I read that from their Twitters, first of all. So they like, we were releasing with some big game, and we are doing good because we wanted that amount of people and money, and we get that. So I still don't know about should you release with some big game or not, because in theory, yeah, you should not, but in practice, I don't know, people were releasing, yeah, their indie games whenever they wanted. The thing that is more important, I think, is to release your game near some big event. I
Mm.
have baseball game. Maybe I should release my game when some big baseball champion cups. Yeah, some baseball cups will
Yeah, yeah.
happen.
There's like the World
Uh,
Series in America. That's usually a big like takes over the news kind of thing, but I'm not sure when that is
yeah,
actually. But yeah.
I don't know honestly, because I don't watch baseball. I can't say that I'm a big fan. I just love that aesthetics,
Yeah.
because it's very. I was watching some games, and it was. I can't say it was boring or
No,
fun or
you could say
interesting or
it's boring.
exciting.
It's baseball's boring, man.
Kind of. I wanted to learn its rules, not because
Yeah,
of this game, but I mean, I think 4 years ago, just because I wanted. I like, yeah, that game looks interesting. I just want to make or to learn their rules. And first of all, I was interested in baseball because of the Haruki Murakami, one of my favorite authors in literature. Yeah, the
ah,
Japanese guy who have written a lot of great books. I
mhm.
was reading him for about 10 years, I think, and he is a big baseball fan. And baseball is not very popular in Russia. I know that it's very popular in USA and Japan. I think the most, the two
Mm.
biggest baseball countries. And he was describing that game like he loved it so on, and that's one of the tiny reasons why I'm doing baseball game too, because that dude loved them, and I was like, yeah, I want to make something baseball related,
I
even
see.
though I not a baseball fan.
Yeah.
I forgot what was I forgot about the question. What was the
Oh no, yeah,
question?
we were just kind of, we're just kind of hovering, talking
Ah,
about that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. I'm curious too with what are your plans looking forward? I could see this. I'm not sure if your games are already on mobile, but I feel like they could work really well on there. Do you look to release to mobile, to consoles?
Um, Speaking about ping pong, I did wanted to make one it on mobile, and it's quite easy on GameMaker. You just buy a separate mobile module, and you can make your build for Android and iOS.
Mm.
But um, just like I said, I was quite tired from it when I started learning Unity. I had in mind that yeah, I should make it, and people around were telling me that, man, you should make it for mobile because it is like made for mobile. It is vertical, yeah, like
Yep.
stable and two players. I was like, yeah, and I I'm still thinking about it to make it on mobile. It's
Gotcha.
just a matter of time. And
Yep.
the thing is that marketing your game on mobile is so much harder. I think, at least in my opinion, because so much games are releasing on mobile. I know that so much games are releasing on PC, but it's the first thing, I know PC market better just because I'm a PC player.
Hmm.
That's maybe not the greatest argument, but still. And amount of games on mobile are tremendous. There
Yeah,
are
that's
too
the
many
thing.
games.
Yeah, it's hard to stand out because there's so many games on mobile. I think you're right. Where
Yeah.
on Steam there's a
So
lot, but yeah.
yeah. So I didn't know what to do with that game. Yeah, okay, I will make it on mobile, but what do I do next? I can't market it myself. I market ping pong like others indies. We will talk about it later, but I don't know how to do it on mobile.
Mm.
Just should I find some publisher or something like that? I didn't want to work with publisher back then, honestly. So I was like, nah, too many reasons not to do that on mobile. Just for fun, maybe, but it's time. Yeah, so I
Mm.
still didn't make it. About consoles, I was receiving two, I think. Yeah, two. Um, not suggestions, but wait a second. That word, yeah, I know that in Russian. Um, yeah, offers.
Gotcha.
Two offers from some publishers to publish my game on Switch. And one of them like, yeah, your game will be super cool to play on Switch, we should publish one. I
Hmm.
was like, I don't know anything about Switch. I mean, that dev kits some and so on, because mobile is was um, not easy for me but familiar, because I did some mobile stuff with game maker just for fun,
Mm.
for experience. But Switch, it's a whole new platform for me, and I was a little bit scared, because if I fail, yeah, big for our country publishers are like, yeah, you will make it, something like that. But I will but I just like, yeah, I will make it. So we uh, shaked our hands. We did not sign any papers. We just, yeah, you will make it.
Yeah.
Our team will help you, and so on. And a week later, or maybe early, maybe 5 days after that, they are writing me like, oh, your game on Game Maker. Yeah, I said, yeah. Oh, we're not working with Game Maker games. We're working only with Unity games. I was like, and you are a big publisher. You
Huh.
didn't ask that
Right.
from the beginning. I was like, man, that's not how business should uh,
Just do the research on you.
done. Yeah, so they even didn't ask me, and I was like, yeah, a little bit upset, because my
Yeah.
game on Switch, it's awesome, but you can't do it alone. I know that people in Russia, at least, not at least, but know some people in Russia that are making their games, porting their games to Switch by themselves, but it's very hard, at
I
least now,
see.
because Nintendo's have some weird rules. I don't know. It's not
Right.
that easy.
Yeah, no, and
Yes.
it's always easy for people on the outside to go, "Oh, put that on this, put that on that." But you're talking about the reality is it's a whole process, and you have to rework what your, the engine or the tools to make it work on the, on whatever console. So it's easy for fans to go, "Yeah, put it on Nintendo Switch," but it's another story when you actually have to do it.
Yeah, and you should think about the result. I mean, you should think about should you make it, who will play it, and so on, because you spend 2 months porting it, or maybe even more,
Yeah.
and then okay, that game is not that popular on that platform or something like that,
Right.
because I can't imagine I can't imagine people playing lo-fi ping pong on PlayStation 4. I just can't imagine it, because console players, at least PlayStation and Xbox players, they I forgot. My brain
No,
turning
you're
off.
fine. I do think I see where you're going. I think you are right with maybe it's not a fit for console players, but I do think it would work for sure on a Switch where you're
Yeah.
you're on the train, you're playing a quick match, and then you jump out or you're at home. Like I do feel like it works, but yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to say that they got PlayStation and Xbox players. They got used they got used to games that look like Ori and Blind Forest, like AAA
Sure.
games. They look. Oh, I don't have words for
I know
how
what
they
you mean.
look.
Oh yeah.
Great, yeah. And my game, it looks, yeah, okay. It's nice, cute, but it's not that level. And I know that. So for Switch, yeah, it's great. But for other consoles, I am not even thinking about that.
Mm,
I will do everything so my games will be good on those consoles, but not right now.
gotcha.
um, and the second I got second offer from the uh, Russian publishers too.
Hmm.
They asked me from the beginning what engine I made the game on. I said game maker, and they said that yeah, we're working only with Unity. So maybe one day when we um, get used, not get used, when we learn ourselves how to port games to Switch from game maker, we will write you a letter. And I will wait.
Hmm.
So I want to make a lo-fi ping pong on Switch, and maybe a new game too, because it will be much easier to find publisher because it is Unity.
Right.
Yeah,
Do you
so
know?
I do want.
Do you know why it's such a the publishers at least don't want to deal with Game Maker, porting Game Maker? Is it the way it ports is complicated? Do you know why they prefer Unity over Game Maker?
I think just because of the overall popularity of
Hmm.
Unity, because GameMaker not that popular like Unity and Unreal Engine. So and because of that, tech people who are working in those publisher companies, they are not familiar with that engine. So they should learn some new stuff, and it's about money and time. So publishers should be. Um, mm, Man, words. Publishers should be sure that that game will bring them money that will, mm, man.
Well, we mentioned earlier like games like Hyperlight Drifter, or I think you mentioned even Hotline Miami. That's a Game Maker game, right? Like, so I
Yeah,
wonder
yeah.
there it does work for some of them, you know. So I wonder what the big holdup is.
I know that it is not that hard to port to consoles. It is just like just time consuming, and that's all. Just publishers don't want to deal with that engine because they don't have people to
I see.
work on it. And Hyperlight Drift, Hotline Miami, that those games were working with publishers from the beginning, and they had some um, um, people who are familiar with that. And my game is just like one dev guy made something, and that terrible code that I have written should be transported to PlayStation, and it's like, oh no, no, no.
Yeah.
It's and in Unity it is like just easy because there are too many things that even I'm not thinking about, like binary stuff, sizes of some files,
Hmm.
memory leaks, and so on. And Unity has much more tools to optimize things, and GameMaker is more raw engine. I think
Gotcha.
it's harder in one word, but it is real. You have some modules to port to Xbox, PlayStation, and any console.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see. Are you? That reminds me. Are you interested in the idea of kickstarting or doing like Indiegogo, those like fun crowdfunding process to fund this kind of stuff? Have you thought about that? Have you dabbled in that kind of thing?
I think overall it's a great opportunity for game developers to make really big games. I personally didn't think about doing that myself just because my games are quite cheap that I can make with my own money, and I don't need anyone
Gotcha.
to pay for that stuff. I
No, that.
don't know. Will can we talk about not can we, but should we talk about money? I don't know, but
Oh, I hear
I
you. I
mean,
understand. I understand. And that's good
I
on
can.
you.
I can. Just lo-fi ping pong was $500. That's all.
Gotcha.
That's a quite little amount of money I spent on the game, and is mostly The funniest thing that this money, $100 is a Steam fee. So
Oh.
okay, 40 or 500 bucks
Hmm.
on development, and I think 150 was even maybe $200 were spent for that game conference trip.
Oh yeah.
So development like a tiny amount of money
I
for
see.
me, because I was working with people uh, that are starting their way in art and music, and they just can't take a lot of money. I can't say they can't, but they are not asking much, and I can understand them.
Gotcha.
uh,
Gotcha.
I some of them were saying like, yeah, I will do it for free for you. I was like, no, no, man, it's awful, because if you work you should
Get paid. Oh yeah.
yeah, of course. So we were all tiny people. I was tiny in game dev, musicians were tiny in their um, sphere, kind of saying like that. In artists were not that popular too, and that is that those are the reasons why ping
Gotcha.
pong is quite cheap game. Yeah, so I don't need crowdfunding
I
because
see. Yeah, no,
I have money
that's
myself.
smart, and I like that you're thinking about it because I think a lot of other devs could say, well, I could, pay for this or figure it out, but I'm just gonna, rely on the community to just like, oh, they'll take care of it. It's like I like that you're actually trying to just, do it yourself, and I wonder maybe in the future as you start making these games that are like just larger than you can handle, maybe that's when you go if you need to. You look at Kickstarter to foot the bill for like a huge project.
Yeah, and just like I said, I think it's a great opportunity. So I'm not shaming, but
Right.
I understand when people do this.
Oh yeah.
I know cases when people um, did crowdfunding when they have had publishers, and I was like, why? You have publisher that can uh, pay you for the development or something like
Right.
that. And some people, yeah, they not that good in one word, because they are scared that their game will fail, so they like, I will take money from community before even the game is done,
Right.
so I will be um, so I won't spend my money, and I won't lose any money at all, and it is, yeah, overall it's bad. But
Yeah.
I did not hear that much of that cases. Think it's I hope I don't think I hope it's very rare in our
Yeah.
community.
No, and I think it's smart approach that you're doing there for sure. No, yeah, I was just curious about that.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're thinking about that. Now with these next games, coming up, or at least with Kovex, as far as marketing goes, what's your plan with getting the word out there? Obviously, you're talking to us, which we really appreciate. What kind of tools are you using? Yeah, I feel like Twitter's a big one. Which places online are you really trying to like spread the word?
Not I won't tell you anything new. Twitter, Reddit, all social networks. The only thing will change for this game that I will I think I will pay for ads like Twitter ads, so more people will see it,
Yeah.
relevant ads, I mean, because tweeting in my account or other social networks, meh, like, okay, 10, 20 people will see it, and it's
Right.
not that great. Yeah, but I was always, and still I'm thinking about some unique ways of marketing, and I still can't figure something unique out. And it's sad, yeah, but there are always paid ads that I think I will use in Twitter and those other social networks, and that's all I think right now. And I will participate in another game conference. Right now there is, and they're both Russian.
Yeah.
One of them is right now it's online, one of the biggest indie cups in Russia, and streamers. There are, I think, 10 or 15 quite big Russian streamers that are streaming our games. I mean, other people's too
Yeah.
who participate in it, and they were playing 10 to 15 minutes every game. So it's vision too, because some streamers, okay, they have maybe 30 or 40 people that are watching a streamer, and some like hundreds of people, and that's a vision too.
Gotcha.
And there are some YouTubers too that will who will play our games, and some of them have millions of subscribers, so it will market our games good.
Right.
So it's more about vision, not prizes. There will be many
Do you think
nominations, but yeah.
I was just gonna say, I know for me, when I look at when I find games online, I like to see who's making them, like just like behind the scenes, and that's why we started the show, was just to talk to devs and see them behind the scenes and just like realize that they're people making games. But do you think that's an important thing, to be in front of the game be the face of a game? Do you like to let the game speak for itself? What do you think about that, as far as like, just promoting the game as a Nikolay game kind of thing?
I think speaking for small indies like me, it's not that good to place my face everywhere. I mean, it's better to speak game for itself. I think that when some indie devs putting like, I don't know, an example, a Nikolay game in their trailer first.
Okay, sure, yeah. I
and
see
you're
what
like,
you mean.
who is the f is that? I don't want to play game because he's Nikolay or someone. And so it's.
No, I
think
know what you
it's
mean
swing.
there. Yeah, bad example, but I mean more like, for me, I like to see that games are made by people. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I like to talk to them in the first place. But I wonder if more devs have better luck online if you just like see them on the social media, or you see them talking about it, or I wonder if that's just maybe another approach, or it's best to just just show off the game. I wonder.
Yeah, and that's it. Oh man, I think that you should speak as a man, as a
Like
oh
a
my,
representative
not
or a ambassador.
you should speak not like a company. It's, I think, a common thing. I mean, a common sense. But some indies talking like we are that, we are that. I mean, we are like a company, a big something big. They're not telling, yeah, man, forgetting words.
Mhm.
Um, they are speaking from the perspective from the top. I mean, like, we
I
are
see.
devs and you're players, and
Right.
we are higher, you are lower, something like that. And I don't like that at all. I understand when big companies do that, even though big companies like to chat with their players too. They of course they have a lot of community managers, but I mean, their social networks, like Cyberpunk game, it's quite it's not that official, I mean. Yeah, so
Sure.
it's
Yeah, the way they talk is more like, I guess, your friend or something. It's
yeah,
just a bit more casual.
yeah, casual, yeah, that word I
Hmm.
was searching for, casual. And when indies are talking like Nintendo, I don't know, it's very strange, and I think it's not healthy, maybe.
Yeah.
Why do you do that?
Yeah. No, I know for me, I like to be reminded that, these games are made by people and it's hard. And so I like when you get to, maybe they're not in the front, always in front of the game, but you don't have to click too many times before to find out, who's actually making the game.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, that's just kind of my perspective. But I do have some
I
closing.
agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree
gotcha.
with you.
I have some closing questions for you. We got just general advice. So part of the show the idea is so I want gamers to know just how the struggle hard it is to make these indie games, but also other devs to kind of learn from each other as far as like mistakes you made or things you learned that other people can learn from you as well. So were there any, do you have any advice for other game devs or something you learned along the way that they could benefit from?
I think I honestly I can't say something particular right now. I just want to say that if you if you think that your game is bad or something like that, just do it till the end. Do it faster, because many people will, not many, but some people, I saw some cases when people were developing for 2-3 years and they were like, yeah, my game is not good. Everyone say that by the end of the development, but some people are making games too long with big amount of wait, word.
Like a budget or features
No.
or
Breaks. Yeah.
oh,
They pause their development for too long. They're just developing for 3 months. Then they're like, oh man, I don't want to make this game. I want to make another, and they jump to another prototype.
I see. Yeah.
Not because they did some research and they understood that this game won't sell well on something like that. They just didn't want it because they just didn't want it. That's a very bad idea, to stop developing game just because you got tired from it. So I think for devs like me, for one man team or 2-man team, it is better to make games that you can develop in 1 year or less. I hope that I will make my new game in 1 year. I'm developing about half year, and I got another 6 months, so I got like a schedule.
Yeah.
And doing a game for a long time alone, for 2 or 3 years, it's just it's very hard. So don't do that. The one case that I know that is good, when one man was developing a game for a very long time, it's Stardew Valley. So
sure.
One dude, he made.
That's
his
the
own
only time
engine
it's worked out. It
so-
seems like.
Yeah, because so many people, I think, like him, were just sitting in his office or home doing some game, and 2, 3, 4 years, very, very long time, and going to nowhere. So I think it is very even depressive, I think, to make one game so long.
Right.
So you should like get some balance. Don't make prototype every 1 month and just like, man, I don't want to make it anymore, I will start another one, without researchers, I mean, just because you don't want it. And don't make very long big projects. I think it's common sense, but I still see that many people don't understand that.
I think you're right, because it's I see other devs, other indie devs, and I understand, they want to make something creative and they think, oh, I can add this feature and that feature and this feature, and it grows and grows and grows. But the reality is you can grow tired of it and you could quit, and you, at least to get experience under your belt, you just have to kind of pump stuff out to learn how it is to actually finish a game and all the stuff that comes with it. So I think you're exactly right. I think a lot of indie devs forget that they should try and release things, and it should come out, and they should, every little game they're going to put out, they're going to learn from it.
Yeah, of course.
All righty. Well, Nikolay, this has been awesome. Thank you for talking with us. I really appreciate it. You're a super smart dude. I mean, you're what you mentioned, you're 25. I mean, you're already just speeding along.
Thank you very much. It was a very pleasant talk. I did like to be a guest on podcast. It's the first time, and I was quite nervous because I didn't talk like that with people, and it is in English. And I didn't participate in podcast even in Russian. It is
Oh, really?
English my first time.
You're great. I mean, and I know you mentioned online, it's like, oh, maybe your English is better than mine. I mean, you're awesome. I know your webcam died on us, but we still got to see your face for a little bit.
Yeah, thank you very much. You're a very great guy to talk with.
Well, I appreciate it. The same for you. And every stuff you put out for Kovex, I'll make sure and retweet it. So yeah, I'll just try and
Oh, thank
help
you
you
very
grow it.
much. Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
no problem. I
You are
appreciate it.
you are
Well,
doing God's work, man. And your friend too.
yeah,
You
Gavin.
you are
Unfortunately,
doing
couldn't be
great.
here, but yeah, hopefully maybe next time we'll talk to you in maybe a couple of months, and we'll see where you're at.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
yeah. Thank you too.
All right, we'll see you. Bye bye.
Bye.